you're saying. And I think it's easier for them because then they don't just listen to the language, but also read the language itself.
What if I speak Australian and they don't understand me?
The computer understands you, it seems.
Is it, Brian, Australian? Is it a type of English or what?
The jury is still out on whether it's English.
Well, Pak Punang, we can take the translator.
On the right side of record.
Right,
you have a record button on the right side. You have
live translate. Okay.
The computer understands you.
Shall we put it on now?
Is it, Brian,
on your
Australian?
own,
is it a type of English or what?
Jadi silakan Bapak Ibu sekalian, di sebelah bawah itu ada tombol live transcript. CC, ada lambang CC tulisannya. Dipijat nanti bahasa Inggrisnya otomatis akan tertulis.
Subtitle setting. Do we have to adjust the subtitle setting or no?
No, just
it, yeah?
It's okay.
Just subtitle.
Yep.
So can I give it a try and see if it works in Bahasa? So if I'm speaking Australian, which I'm trying to do right now, it's still translating as though it's English. See, I told everybody.
No. It's not translating. It's
Translation. Yeah. Translation.
Yes, it's understanding my Australian, so that's fabulous.
That's a good start.
It only understands the English. That's the problem. But when we speak in Bahasa, probably it does not really accurate.
Brian.
Boleh saya coba bicara dalam bahasa Indonesia? Bagaimana itu?
See?
Tidak bisa.
Yeah, no.
Tidak bisa.
It cannot.
Among kosong.
No. See, among. No. It doesn't work. Okay, let me see how many participants. We have already got 23 participants. I think we have 21 participants. So with us, the committee, I think we still have one or two participants, but no, the show must go on. Do you think so, Brian? Yeah, I already shared the rules and regulation, the learning contract last week, and then we were on agreement that we are going to start at 1:30, and also before the time too, I already demand the participants to be ready 10 minutes earlier in advance. Yeah, so I think it's better for us to start our activity today. Yeah, is it okay for everyone?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay, and please accept my apology because I still cannot fix the video. But for me, I think it's better because people cannot see that actually I'm already old, so I can. It's a kind of excuses from me. All right, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Recording in progress.
Wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. Alhamdulillah, everyone. How are you today? Good? Yeah, I hope it's good. And then right. And I hope everyone has already got lunch, so that it's time for you to learn something new. Right. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for everyone for participating this program on time, and especially for Brian and also Adam. Yeah, thank you for coming to this session, and also for everyone here. So as we already planned last week, that today we are going to have the first part of our workshop program. Yeah, and it will take around 2 hours. And then if you refer to the syllabus that has been shared by Pak Punang last night, I think you can also find the activities that today we are going to listen to the explanation on how to design collaborative and participative learning from Brian and also from Adam. And then after that, we are going to have discussion, focusing on our best practices, whether we have already implemented these methods of teaching or not. And as I already give you the reminder yesterday, that hopefully by now the committee has already received the information related to your experience, and also the information about how you have already implemented the teaching and learning process. All right, and in the end of our meeting, there will be some information and also some reminders from Bapak Punang. All right, so without further ado, let us start our meeting today by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right, and I'm going to deliver the time. I'm going to invite Dr. Brian to have this session. Dr. Brian, the time is yours now.
Thank you very much, and it's so good to see everyone virtually at the moment. It's a great number of people, and I love the use of the caption closing at the bottom. That's going to be very helpful for everyone. So look, welcome to the webinar workshop of collaborative and participatory learning. And I want to say up front that this is the ASEAN Institute of Applied Learning, and the ASEAN Institute of Applied Learning is an institute that encourages the actions of seeing how learning takes place in different communities. And we gather together. There's quite a few of us involved in this, and we work towards looking at program provision that is going to meet the needs of a growing Indonesian and ASEAN community when it comes to active ASEAN learning. Institute of Applied Learning. Really pleased as the chair to welcome you to our workshop. And I'm going to say up front that because it's a workshop, I mentioned it in the opening ceremony, and I was really pleased that the information's up there in the Moodle, that the learning management system that you'll come to. However, I was really pleased to see that you understand and accept that concept of the lanyard, and the lanyard of we're in learning. So we have to suspend our judgments about people's views and attitudes, and we learn and encourage them to be expressive of themselves in this process and this journey. You get to take the lanyard off when we get to the closing ceremony on or around the 24th of September. So what I'd like to do now is, because Professor Hurriyat Babachan's in the room, all four of us from the Institute are going to introduce ourselves and say a few words about ourselves, and you'll see us at different times. But Professor Babachan is not staying with us for this session, but she's here now. So I'm just going to ask Professor Babachan to introduce herself and just to give us a little bit of a background from her point of view. There you go, Hurriyat. It's yours.
Thank you very much, Brian. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here and just greeting you all and thanking you for your participation. As Brian said, I am a professor of economic and public policy. That's my discipline area, although I have taught many other subject areas. I've been an academic and a professor for now nearly 20 years. I work also as a research director for 4 university consortium in Australia. And so that does research across regional economic development, and we do a significant amount of research. My formative years have been in teaching and learning. I have been a dean, I have been a pro-vice chancellor, I have been a head of school, and I have completed things like the Graduate Certificate of Teaching and Learning in Australia when it was ever first came out. So I take an active interest in teaching and learning, and of course in the last decade or more on online learning platforms. I will be with you for other times of this program. I'm very excited to be part of this. I've engaged with Indonesia many a time, so this is not my first time working with fellow Indonesian colleagues. And I am really looking forward to hearing from you, for your active participation, and also for having an opportunity to learn from you. Because for me, learning is not a one-way process, it's a two-way process. So good luck with the whole course, and I will see you in due course. Thanks, Brian, back to you.
Yeah, good on you. Thank you, Harriet. Adam, would you like to just share a little bit of background about yourself? And
Sure, I'll have a go at introducing myself in Australian, Brian. What do you reckon? Okay. G'day, coppers. This afternoon, or this arvo, will be choice, chockers, and fair dinkum. Let's have a ripper session. She'll be right. Good on you, mate.
Very Australian.
Very Australian.
I'll translate for you. Let's hope this afternoon's fun, and we take it very, we take it seriously, but it also has to be enjoyable. Everything will be all right. Look, this is a session where we learn together. It's a journey. So please, if you have any questions or you want to talk out any issues along the way, please don't be afraid to ask any. And if you don't understand my accent, then please ask for any clarification. And when we say good on you, mate, that's a really good thing. When we say, okay, this is going to really happen, I think, having these people today with us is going to be a really great session. A little bit about myself. I've been in e-learning now probably from the nearly 19 years now, from when e-learning really first started, using a system called Blackboard. I don't know if any of you people are familiar with that, but version 1 of Blackboard. So I'm probably telling my age a little bit. Working in wikis and a whole range of different areas within e-learning. I'm actually a lawyer by profession, but my passion is actually working in intercultural management across borders. And for the last 4 years before COVID, I've been traveling across the ASEAN, working for ASEAN Secretariat, working on multimodal transport and developing learning resources for government officials across those 10 nations. And more recently, with our friend Ozdia, who will probably introduce himself, and Brian, we did some work for your coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs in developing competencies for the logistics and supply chain sector. Look, I'm the crazy one of the group, as you can tell by my hair, but I like to push the edge of things that we are learning. So I think today's session and the ones that we go into the future, I really like to stretch you a little bit, to take you out of your comfort zone and maybe try new things along the way. So look, I'm really looking forward to the course and I wish you all the best. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, no problems at all. Thanks, Adam. At this stage, it would be a good idea to hear from Pak Ozdia, just to give us a little bit of a background. Pak Ozdia.
Selamat sore semuanya. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat sore, Bapak.
Selamat sore, Bapak semua, Ibu. Senang bertemu dengan Bapak dan Ibu. Mungkin maybe I am the only Indonesian here who are in the team, ya. And berharap akan bisa, I hope that it will be a forum where we can share our experiences and also our thoughts dengan cara yang kolaboratif, ya. seperti judul workshop ini. Mungkin latar belakang ya, my background. Background saya bahasa Inggris sebetulnya Pak. Dari Universitas Pajajaran, kemudian ngambil S2 di Inggris dan gabung dengan Brian di Melbourne University dulu, di Victoria University, dan sejak itu 2005 sampai sekarang terus bekerja sama mengembangkan yang namanya competency based training. Tapi saya juga pernah di lembaga administrasi negara di sekolah tinggi ilmu administrasi mengajar bahasa Inggris dan manajemen sumber daya manusia. Ya, harapan saya mungkin nanti apa yang tadi disampaikan oleh Adam, bahwa kita akan sama-sama berproses begitu, mencoba sesuatu yang baru. Mudah-mudahan bisa sukses di akhir dan bisa memperoleh sesuatu yang baru dari workshop ini. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes, kembali lagi juga ya.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for everyone. And sorry, a little bit of background about me. So I've worked with Muhammadiyah, gosh, I don't even want to remember, but it could be as many as 16 years ago. We worked all the way through a number of programs for the Indonesian government and the Australian government under what was called the IASTP program. So I've had a lengthy period of time working on projects, development projects for different ministries. BNN is one of them. I think we know some people in Muhammadiyah, so we worked with them. We've worked in a number of other Ministry of Education and Culture and Health. And essentially, and I must reference the work that we did in the land mapping in Aceh just after the tsunami, because I've got some resources that are relevant for this particular workshop that I'm going to ask you to have a look at. And so that's a report on collaborative learning with some land mappers in Aceh. Yes, okay, it may be 2005 I'm referring to, but it is as relevant today as it was then. So I'm thinking these resources will be useful for all of the participants. Other areas, I've worked across in Australia for 20 years in vocational education and training. And I've also worked in Timor-Leste for 5 years, advising the Minister of Education on the development of a vocational training system. So I've a lot of policy work, a lot of donor and development work, but also quite a range of experiences in the tertiary education sector. So like Adam indicated, we want this to be engaging. We want this to be, let's say, confronting. At least we want everyone to be challenged in the way in which we do things. It doesn't mean we're doing it right. This is a journey for all of us. Hurriyat, Adam, Jim, if he joins us, and Uzdia, we're learning from you as well as you are learning from us. But I want this to be a process. And the way we work with process is that you write a journal. So one of the very first tasks that began last Friday and is that you get a book, just the simplest of books, you open it up and it's page 1, and then you start writing to yourself the issues that are coming up for you as you engage in this process. It's really important that you it's only a 38-day journal, so it won't take too much of your time, but it's a really important process because what you're engaging in now, you might want to reflect on later in the course about your thoughts and attitudes about what it was that we were asking you to do. So a journal is the personal journal. No, it's not going to be assessed. I don't think the Minister of Education, Makarim, if you listen to the audio, would appreciate or like any idea that it's going to be assessed. Your journal is your journal. Then I also think that the other side of it is, and I think Pak Punang is going to make sure that it happens in the Moodle, there'll be a blog. And in that blog, you'll have opportunities to express points of view, ideas, thoughts that you are coming to and are being challenged by, and you want to share it with others. The blog is not being assessed. It's just a venue for putting ideas out there. And we will take those ideas and we will look at them in terms of incorporating some of the thoughts that come up in the blog. So the blog and the journal, they're your part of your contribution to yourself and your journey. Now, I'd like us to do a little bit of an icebreaker warm up, and I think Uzdia is going to ask me a question and I have to answer it.
Recording stopped.
Yes, good. We don't want to record this part. This is our icebreaker. When you've got a large group of people, people need to find out a little bit about them. So in the chat box, I want you to put down a number. It's either 1, a 2, or a 3. Okay, a 1, a 2, or a 3 in the chat box. I'll put it. I'll give you 3 points, 3 things about myself, and you have to guess which one is the right one, or the lie. Which one's the lie? You can do it after me, dear. I'll start it off, and I'll say the first one is that I ran in the Melbourne Marathon when I was a younger man. That's number 1. Number 2, I was on an active volcano when it erupted 24 hours before it killed 3 people. That's item number 2. Item number 3, I spent 6 months in hospital from a fall. Now, in the chat box, which one's the lie? You just put your number in, hit it to everybody, and we should see it. Oh, I think it's not fair. I think it's not fair. Adam's jumped in. Who said? Andrew says 1. You don't look like a runner. Okay, it's true. You've picked it out pretty well. I'm lying. It's number 1. I have never been a runner in a Melbourne Marathon. Never, ever. All right, Adam, what about you have a shot at it? Your 3 things, Adam. We'll see if we can pick yours.
Okay, number 1. When I was living in Vietnam, I rode my bicycle from Ho Chi Minh City to Hanoi in 1 month. That's not a normal bicycle. Number 2, when I was 18, or actually much younger, from the ages of 16 to 18, I was in the under-19s Australian soccer squad. Unfortunately, I tore my knee apart and couldn't continue my soccer career. The third one is I hold 11 degrees and about 15 graduate certificates and a couple of graduate diplomas.
All right. And while everybody's having a go at that, you might be thinking about your 3 things that you're going to share with everybody, because we'll be just going onto our screen and looking at and asking you to tell us your 3 things. All right, so I think a lot of people were pretty even there. It was number 2, wasn't it, Adam?
Yeah, I never played for Australia in soccer. I play, because of my accent, you should know that I I played Aussie rules, not soccer.
Is Harriet still there? Maybe she can share something before she goes. If Harriet's still there.
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, what are your three? What are your three? And we'll try and guess.
Okay, I danced for Nelson Mandela, the great president of South Africa. I am a descendant of Genghis Khan, the great Chinese conqueror. And I don't know how to ride a bike. So which one is the lie?
I mean, anyone who dances with Nelson Mandela, I mean, honestly, how could you possibly be lying with that one? Oh, someone's guessed that you're lying there. Now, everyone has to put in a number so we can move it relatively quickly. So please feel free to just put your number down. And so, okay, you'll have to reveal to us which one's the lie.
The lie is I don't know how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
So I did dance for Nelson Mandela. And on my father's side, we are descendants from the Chinese conqueror, Genghis Khan. And I never learned how to ride a bike.
Oh, great.
What about a
Although
camel?
I can drive a car.
What about a camel? Did you ever get to ride a camel?
I did ride a camel and a horse.
All right, Uzdia, let's hear from you, and then I'm going to go to the participants. Your three truth and lie. You're on mute. I can't hear from you, Uzdia. So while Uzdia's reflecting on, yeah, you need to be off. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so number one is I traveled on a canal boat trip in England for 2 weeks from south to up to the near Manchester and go back to the airport. Number two, when I was lost in mountain hiking with my friends and got lost, and we are very hungry, and we catch a snake and ate it. And the last one, I went fishing in Kupang at that night and then got nothing.
Definitely think you're lying there. I know that because I know you're a fisherman. Yeah, a lot of people are going for that one. So as we go through the Punang, where are you, Punang? You might be up next. You've got something to share with us. Hang on, before you do, Punang, I'll ask you to give us your three. Uzdia, was it number 3?
No.
Ah.
It's number 2. Number 2 is a lie.
What? Yeah, you didn't eat snake, but you did get lost.
Eat snake.
All right. Okay, so let's see from who would like to go next in amongst our group. Now, the way you do that is just you put your hand up through a reaction, and then I'll see you on screen, and that way I can ask you to tell us your 3 thoughts. Okay. Well, Punang, tell us your 3. While I'm looking, please put your hand up so I can get a sense of who you are, and you'll be going next. I think Punang, where is Punang? Punang, come on, tell us your 3.
It's difficult for Pak Punang because he never tell lie.
All right, Bamba, come on. You're on, tell us. Give us three and tell us one of them is a lie.
One.
Now there's someone. Who's that? Who's got the hand up there? All right, off you go. Tell us.
Indro. Could I, Brian? Could I?
Yes, you're next.
Okay.
Indro.
Okay. First, I completed my bachelor degree, master degree, and doctorate degree in Australia in Australian universities. The second, I used to be the champion of singing contest when I studied at Senior High School.
Right.
The third, I used to be a champion of poetry reading contest when I was at junior high school.
Not a lie.
Which one is lie?
Yeah.
All? Do you think all?
No, I'm three down.
Three. I agree with you, Brian.
Yeah.
Number one. I know that one. I know the fight.
Yeah.
Number one is correct. Huh? Oh. Number one.
Oh, well, I think you've confused us all. So I think it's absolutely true. Has everyone put a number in? I don't think everyone's had a chance.
No. Oh, number one.
All right. So which one was it? Which one was the lie?
Andrew, which one is the lie actually?
Sorry. Number one.
Yeah.
I completed my bachelor degree in Yogyakarta.
Ah, fair enough then. Who wanted to go up next? Who requested to go next?
Come on, the other participant, you are most welcome.
Let's hear from one of. Oh yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Bambang, you're on.
Number one, I am the descendant of the first king of Yogyakarta. Number two, I used to be a national champion of singing contest in 1990. And number three, I have two wives.
All right.
Oh.
Complicated.
This is good story.
Number one.
Number one, Pak.
No. Oh.
Number one.
Yang one.
Okay.
So they're discrediting your credentials and your royalty there, Bambang. There's no faith. There's no faith there at all. Okay. It must be the way, you know. It must be something in the virtual reality there. All right. Well, what was that answer?
If you choose number one, you're wrong, because even though it is not the straight lineage, but I am the descendant. It is not
the sun.
Yes, it is not in a crown lineage, right? But I am descendant. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and number two, it is not national level, but regional level.
Kelurahan, RT.
RT or kelurahan or regional. So number two is the lie.
Excellent. Now, I would really like a participant to give us their shot. And a female would be a good one because it's about sharing here. So we've heard a lot of male voices. So let's have a female voice of a participant telling us a lie or trying to get away with it.
Come on, Bu Titin, Bu Indah, Bu Fitria. Come
Okay.
on, Bu Dia.
I will try.
Okay.
Yes, Brian, Mr. Brian. The first, I lost my luggage in Netherlands airport 3 years ago. And the second, I can speak Arabic fluently. And the third, I have a son at 27 years old.
Number 2.
Yes, right. I can speak Arabic.
Great, number 2. All right.
So the lie is?
Number 2.
Number two, yeah.
All right. Look, fabulous. Look, I just want to just take a moment now. Look, we won't go through everyone. But I want to be able to say to you, everything about going online is about sharing. And so the issue around large groups of people, if there were 25 people in a room, of course, you'd be a little bit shy and wouldn't want to talk. So the plan now is we're not going to, and I'm not going to get you to share all this information with each other. You'll have enough of an opportunity to introduce yourselves in your breakout rooms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to you, our first task is, unless you establish a rapport with people you're working with, then it's hard to get to the next phase of engaging and changing the way you do things. So our plan for this workshop is to place you in smaller groups, in breakout rooms, and your tasks in those rooms are going to be, and I'll have to share it with you. Your tasks in the room are going to be, I'll cut and paste it, copy that in there, and I'll put it in, I'll do it now into the big space. So you've got a task in this room, and when your tasks are in the chat, so while I'm talking, you can see what your task is. But your very first task, so the idea of the course is to engage. Everyone needs to engage. And the way you engage is you engage in smaller groups. So I'm going to shoot you all off into groups, and you'll have about 5 minutes to have a smaller conversation about those couple of questions, introducing yourself, getting to know each other, etc. So I'm going to ask my IT assistant to launch the meetings. You may need to take that. Thank you, Hurriyat. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for sharing that you can't ride a bike. So what you'll need to do is to take that information that's in the chat into your room. Now, you might want to just cut and paste it on a document somewhere. At least if 1 or 2 people in the room have got it, that'll be fine. You will automatically be thrown into a breakout room where you are to address those questions. Now, for other facilitators, stay here in the main room and I'll assign you to a breakout room. Techie, it's on. He's doing it now. So you'll be all moving into breakout rooms, and some of us will come and join you.
Oh, jangan kuning deh. Where do I belong?
Are they all going in? Did you get them all? Is there anyone missing? Did you?
Oh, Adam not joined, Andrew not
My techie has told me that we didn't get everyone's name, so I now need to put. Can you put your hand up if your name is Mariska Intan Sari? Yes, good. Okay, thank you. So, could you assign to number 1? Thank you. And you're heading off there now. Put your hand up if you're Sita Raman Muamun. Or just, yes, good on you. Where are you now? Up there, Andrew. Sign to, did you get that person? Into number 3. Yep. Number 3, you got it? Yeah, next, you're off there now. The next person, Dia. Dewanti. Dia, where are you? Which one? Right, wave your hand so I can see.
She's having problem with I think she's now having a migraine, so that's why she asked me not to turn on the camera.
Oh, okay. Just put she doesn't need to, just in reactions, all she needs to do is put a reaction like a hand up, and then I will be able to see her and I'll know.
Okay. Are you there?
And then what about Anissa? You did it? You did it? You already?
I can't see my name, Brian.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where is Andrew? What about this one? And which one is she? Okay. And what she needs to do, you're going to put Anissa into room number 5. All right, done. Anissa, you're heading to room number 5. Now, that would leave us.
Somebody to join us, or should we start introducing ourselves?
So now we're in the main room. All the groups are in different groups.
Yeah.
I was told the other day. Now, Adam, I think you're going to go into group 5. You can join group 5 and just keep an eye on it. I'm asked the people that were going to facilitate. Who were the facilitators of the workshop? Remember the other day, Bunang, there were 3 or 4 people in the facilitating the workshop?
Right.
Is that including
but by the way, I think there's one more participant that has not been assigned. I think it's Pak Dimas, is it?
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
here.
Okay.
Where? Put your hand up.
We can
What?
decide the group name.
He can join the room now? Okay.
I'm from the English department.
Yeah, it's already in there. You should be in there.
Pak Dimas, which room?
Departmentnya Bu. Fisioterapi. Ini ada Budiah titis.
You're muted, Brian.
They have to join the room. So when information comes up and they have to click the button that says, I'll join the room.
Okay. Room 5, Pak Dimas.
So something comes up and they have to join. So who in the room is remaining a person who is a participant?
Okay, should be okay now.
Okay.
Ya, Bu Enda, Pak Suryato sudah ke room 4 ya, Pak?
So can you put Adam's name against 5? Room 5 is Adam. Let's say, so the way it's going to go now is, just while they're doing introduction, what I'd like is the facilitators to join a room so that they don't, the idea now is that I'm going to try and keep these groups together for the duration of this webinar and other webinars and workshops. So this group that they form is important. Now, what I'm going to say is, put your hand up if you're or a thumb up if you're a facilitator of the group. I think Desi was, Arinza, is that right?
Right.
So I'll put you into, Desi, into room 1, and you can join that as a facilitator.
Yeah.
Farinza, you can put her into 2. You're going into 2, Farinza. You have to say yes and go in. Who's that? Uzdia, you can go into 3. Is there another facilitator in the room?
Actually, what would the task of the facilitator be?
Oh, just in this case, just listen to the conversation. What they have to do is rename themselves on their screen according to a number and their name and what they want to be called in the meeting. So if they want to, for example, I want to be called Brian, not Dr. Fairman. So I name myself number 5, Brian. And it's a task. It's a task that they start asking each other and getting organized around. But the most important part of it is getting to know each other and sharing with each other what they want out of this workshop.
Okay, there's one more person, Mas Joko. It's Joko Flock here.
Yeah.
You can also assign him.
Joko, where's Joko? Second name?
Joko Flock, V-L-O-G.
My techie's trying to find the name. My techie's saying it's not on the list that I've got. So what I will do is I'll assign him to room 4. So where is he in the screen? Have you got him on screen?
I think, thank you. That's my information. And maybe any others, Bu Endah, please share your idea, your information.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is it clear?
Very clear in my...
Okay. My name is Endah Sabtutiningsih. My nickname Endah. I'm from Economics Department of Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. I have worked for about 21 years. Yeah, it's too long for work in UMY compared to Pak Suryanto. Okay. My hobbies, I like to traveling, yeah, and I like to write. Maybe I don't like to read, like not like Dian, yeah. I don't like read, but I like to listen. So many people curhat to me. Okay, and now I'm Vice Dean of Academic Affairs in Faculty of Economics and Business. Maybe in the last August, I will have to move. And my activities, yeah, we have finished the international conference, yeah, Pak Sir. But my focal is HIV, yeah, alhamdulillah, good, run well, yeah. And we asked Sandiaga Uno to give the keynote speech yesterday, yeah, alhamdulillah. And what else? I have two kids, and maybe one of my kids is the student of Budian. Oh, not Budian, in the social politics faculty. Yeah. Okay. And what else? I think it's enough.
Okay, what is the last information, Bu Endah?
Yeah.
What your last information you said? After you told us that you have just invited Sandiaga Uno, you are informing us what else? I missed the information because I jot down the information about Sandiaga Uno.
Oh, information of Sandiaga Uno?
No. I just jot down the information about Sandiaga Uno, and you inform us something. I do not really catch the information.
Alhamdulillah, the event is was run well. Yeah, but even just 30 minutes for Sandiaga Uno.
Why?
It's like flash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your last information after that?
Maybe
what you have just told us. Apa yang terakhir tadi ngomong apa? I missed the information.
No, I have 2 kids.
Oh,
yeah.
You have 2 kids.
Yeah, I have 2
So
kids.
how old are they?
Yeah.
How old are they?
7 years old and about 19 years old.
Oh, I see. 19.
Yeah.
Oh, the distance very long, eh?
Yeah.
7.
He is the new student of communication science in a communication department of UMY.
Why not economic?
Oh, he don't
So
like
you can have
mathematics.
yours.
He doesn't like mathematics.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Pak Sur.
Yes, maybe. Who's next, please?
Maybe Bu Sapti. Now he has the examination. So maybe Bu Chris first.
Okay.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
My name is Kristanti Rahman. My nickname Chris. I'm from Cilacap. Yes, Kristanti Rahman. I'm from Cilacap.
Your nickname?
Chris. My nickname Chris.
Okay.
Okay. I'm from SIA Muhammadiyah Cilacap. And
STIA.
Yes, STIA Muhammadiyah Cilacap.
Okay.
I like cooking.
Pardon?
Cooking?
In STIA Muhammadiyah Cilacap.
Pardon?
Yes, cooking.
Cooking?
Yes, cooking.
Oh.
What do you?
That's good because I like eating. You like?
I like cooking. You
And I like.
What food do you cook?
Yes.
What food do you cook? What food do you cook?
Noodle and
noodle.
Indomie?
Yes.
Okay.
In SIA Muhammadiyah Cilacap, I'm accounting program di diploma itu bahasa Inggris apa ya? Diploma 3 ya, diploma 3. What ya?
Okay. Any other information? How many students do you have for D3 accounting?
Yes.
The whole, the student body at the accounting department.
2.
How many students? How many student body?
Student.
100.
100.
100 student body. 100 students. Is this
student.
the whole academic years or just one academic years?
One academic year. One
academic
year.
Or every year you have 100?
Yes. One.
And if 3 years, then around 300 you have the whole, yeah? Great.
Yes.
Excellent. Maybe other, if you have any question, please, you can ask information, please.
Yeah. Family, yeah?
Yeah, okay, family. You can tell us about the family.
I have twin kids.
Twin kids. It is a boy or
how old?
20 months.
Oh, 21. Oh, congratulations. Baby.
What?
You have 20 month, 20
Yes.
month, okay. Okay, so 2 years, but maybe a lack of four months.
4 months again. Okay.
Girl or boy, Chris?
Girl.
Okay.
Her name Sakila and Shakira.
Oh, I see. Baby girl.
I'm from STIA. Another from university. Apa? Minder. Sudah.
But same. There is no difference. The thing that we are supposed to have willingness, then we'll be able to study together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Mr. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, my name is Suryanto. You can call me a part of money. Suryanto, Anto, up to you.
Sur aja deh.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Miss Indah. Miss Indah. Yeah. So next one will be Mas Joko. Mas Joko atau Pak Joko ini? Oh, masih Mas. Oke, please. Mas Joko. Oh ya ya. Masanya Brian mau bahasa Inggris, maka saya ikut-ikutan bahasa Inggris. Oke, akan mengajar di jurusan atau gimana tuh nanti? Akan mengajar di itu jurusan ya? Ada berapa jurusan Mas nanti di
6 fakultas or 6 6 fakultinya?
Akan mengajar apa Mas? IT ya? Oh, TI. Lulusan dari mana? Oh iya loh. Lulus dari mana? TI juga. Oke, teknik informasi di USM ada 6 jurusan. Nama jurusan apa saja Mas di USM itu? Itu yang menentukan siapa Mas? Jurusan itu? Yang menentukan jurusan siapa? Okay. Okay, anyone would like to ask question to Mas Joko? Atau ada usia berapa Mas Joko? Usianya berapa?
Where are you from, Mas Joko?
Dari mana? Saya tuh disuruh kan, Mas, mau nggak kamu? Ada banyak order, carikan ya.
Ya, ini
order.
Dapat link ini. 37 tahun masih dimasuk.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And then I think we'd like to give chance to Ibu Sapti. Messages, please, Bu Sapti.
Assalamualaikum Pak Sur. Mohon maaf saya tadi juga mohon izin tadi sambil menguji skripsi Pak.
Wah.
Ini agak disambil ya. Mohon maaf. Saya
multitasking
juga di bahasa Inggris. I'm not good in English, but I can I know the conversation, but not good in talking in English. I'm sorry, but I try to talk in English another time. Mr. Suryanto.
Yes, please.
I'm from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo in Mathematics Education Program.
Purworejo. Saya kemarin dekatnya dari itu ya, Bu?
Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, Pak.
Oh, Purworejo. Itu dekannya siapa yang di FKIP itu?
Dekannya Pak Yuli untuk yang FKIP.
Oh ya, Pak Yuli, Pak Yuli kemarin.
Ya, Pak Yuli Widiono.
Ya. Hobinya apa? Can you tell us about your hobby?
Listening the music.
Singing.
Listening, just listening. Yeah, not confident at singing.
Oke. Keluarga, Bu, bisa menjelaskan?
Oh ya, suami saya satu, Pak. Suami satu, anak alhamdulillah 3. Yang satu sudah kuliah, yang 2 masih SMP sama SD.
Oke, satu kuliah. 1 SMP, 1 SD.
Ini sekaligus juga memperlancar bahasa Inggrisnya.
Oh iya.
Mendengarkan conversation.
If you like to make your English fluent, I think better for Bu Sapti to speak English all the time. But could you please what is your full name, Bu Sapti?
My full name Mujim Sapti. Mujim Sapti.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I think this is the first meeting for us, and I think everybody have already make an introduction, and I think it is better for us to share the idea why we have to join in this program. Maybe if you have any idea, you can let us know, and we'll discuss that one. Would like to join. What is your expectation joining this program?
Pak Sur.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
By joining this program, I hope I can improve my teaching methods. Like we have to make the student more participate and more collaborate, and we can make many study case, and we can make them in the groups and discussion, and then they present. But now I have do that, but I think I want to have a lot of new methods, not just maybe the limited methods like I conduct now, but I want to get more and more. So we can give the interesting method for learning. Thank you.
All right. That's excellent. Thank you. And also excellent English. Yes.
I agree with Miss Indah. Miss Indah, we already use the online learning, but in our class, our student less participate in our class, online class. When I ask them to asking us about something they don't know, they only silent. Also, when we ask them the question, it's also silent. So we need improve the activity plan that can make more active student active learning.
Okay.
We need best practice for another participant in the collaborative learning program, this collaborative learning program, so we can make change in our lesson plan for next semester.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Sapti. I think that's excellent. Maybe to Budian. Hello, Budian, can you hear us?
Hello, yeah.
We are talking about our expectation. What do you expect from this workshop?
Yeah, I think we actually have the same expectation and the same goals by joining in this workshop. Of course, to improve for myself, to improve my ability in teaching learning, especially in online learning, because the trend is now going up to the online learning. Maybe we all conduct online learning during the pandemic era, but for me, I still have a lack of ability to I want to make my student more active, have a good participation in class. That's what I want to do for the next semester after joining this workshop. I think that's my point. So that's why I said that we have the same expectation and the same goals by joining this workshop.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's very good information. Bu Sapti, you've done. Bu Chris, please. Oke, bahasa Indonesia juga apa-apa. Ya, silakan Bu Chris.
Ya, Pak Suryanto.
Yes, please.
Saya menggunakan bahasa Indonesia saja.
Okay.
Untuk kelas online ini di mahasiswa di SD Muhammadiyah Cilacap, banyak sekali ya kendala juga, ada senangnya juga, tapi tidak pernah tatap muka sama sekali kecuali menggunakan Zoom. Kita menggunakan LMS juga, kita kolaborasi juga dengan YouTube. Seperti itu juga, ada yang tatap muka langsung, ada yang tidak, terus mahasiswa juga harus aktif. Banyak hal yang baru yang benar-benar kita dapatkan begitu ya dari efek pandemi ini. Jadi pembelajarannya jadi lebih enak ya. Tapi mahasiswa itu kadang kalau misalkan online gitu, ada yang mematikan kamera, ada yang tidak aktif juga. Ternyata ada hal positifnya, ada negatifnya, tapi yang paling penting sih tidak harus tatap muka, tapi kita bisa kuliah dimanapun, kapanpun, dan melakukan apapun dalam waktu yang berbeda, dalam waktu yang sama, di tempat yang berbeda, seperti itu, Pak Suryanto.
Oke, ini sudah mau selesai ini tampaknya. We are about to finish in a break round. I think there are just around 35 seconds left. So thank you very much for sharing, and think we'll do that one, and maybe later when we are in the big room, we can also talk about what we have done now. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see you all. See you on a...
Nice to see you, sir. Nice to see you all.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Just work that out and change it around. So it just means that when you're all in the room, we can put you into groups a lot easier.
Is it now, like this? Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Where are you? Which
coconut?
one?
Coconut?
No,
12,
no, look, I'll do it this way. I'll do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just try and grab hold of you. Rename can everyone see it? So it would go rename 12 Maritska.
Oh, the number first. The numbers.
Yeah, how's that sound?
Sorry. Yes. 12 Maritska.
Therefore, I know you're in the coconut group, and I know what your shortened name is.
What does the number 12 stand for?
Yes.
What does the number 12 stand for? No, you were in which group? What group were you in? Oh, well,
Room 1.
12 sounds like I put too many letters in there, Puna.
I was about to ask you what does 12
but anything can happen like that. That's great. So that's the way it's to look.
Okay.
The number that you're in, the group number, your name, your shortened name, and the coconut group that you belong to.
All right.
How's that? Fabulous.
Thank you.
Fabulous. So everyone else should be renaming themselves in that manner. Now, like while you're doing, I don't know if you can do that while Punang is going to share with us. I'm going to share with you now a very short 5-minute video of the Minister for Education talking about Kampus Merdeka. And then we're going to have a bit of a conversation about that in the large group, and then we're going to conduct a poll. But in the meantime, make sure that your number, your shortened name, and what you belong to is up on screen, so my tech assistant can make sure that he gets it all right. By the way, that was perhaps a longer way of having your getting to know each other activity. Okay. Dr. Punang, could you run the video for us, and we'll listen to 5 minutes of that video.
Okay. Wouldn't we wait for everyone to come back to the main room?
I think we've thrown everyone out of the main room. Are they all out? Yeah, they're all, my techie's telling me they're all out.
Well, Brian, my group, we have to name ourselves. We were talking too much about the course. So we had a really good group, but I need them to get to rename themselves as well. They're called the young professors, and I see that they will be future professors, all of them.
All right. Well, look, I tell you what, they'll have a chance to quickly rename themselves when they go into their next breakout group, which is on Campus Merdeka. So let's not fuss about that. You'll get a chance. Just make sure that you've got your number at least in front of you, so we know where you're going. Yes, they're all in the room, Punang, so you can share with us the video.
Okay.
your cornerstone program is what you call Merdeka Belajar, and I think it's free education freedom, really learning to be free, almost is the way I would translate it. What issues in the Indonesian education system are you trying to address with this phrase Merdeka Belajar? What are you trying to accomplish with that? What's the overall framework?
So Merdeka Belajar, I would think, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a real privilege. Thank you, Lynn. Merdeka Belajar, if I may create a slight modification to the translation, I would translate it, even though this is not a perfect translation, to emancipated learning. So emancipated learning would be, I think, a more appropriate translation for what that means. Merdeka is our kind of national credo post-independence, right? Emancipation, freedom, and so on. So it has meaning. It has a heritage, that term, to what we are. And the philosophy of our founding fathers is actually what we're returning back to. And so that relevancy and the shift towards project-based learning, I think, is going to be extremely important. The shift towards slight different take to this, or participatory learning, whereby education is a multivariable discussion or interaction between teacher and student, mentor and mentee, with a variety of sources that can be accessed digitally or otherwise, is going to be that next big move. The unbundling, or basically the removal of the tyranny of a single textbook, I think, is going to be that next thing that we want to emancipate learning from. We also want to emancipate learning from one of the, I think, for me, the most frustrating thing about educational systems, which is the one-size-fits-all philosophy that basically dictates that everyone kind of has to study something at a certain age. Nobody cares if like 50% of the class don't understand it. The class has to move on. Let's go on to the next thing, on to the next year, and so on. Keep moving these kids along. In the meantime, some kids are falling behind 2-3 years. They don't understand because it's scaffolding and they can't get to the next level. So those kids get labeled as, not smart enough or are left behind. This other concept of emancipation is emancipation from uniformity. And the opposite of that is segmentation and personalization, and the ability, the freedom for teachers to be able to move up and down the curriculum as they deem fit, as is appropriate to the level of competency and the speed of which a child learns. An individual child learns, not a class, not a grade. And I think with technology or just with teachers who care, this is a real possibility. All it takes is a teacher and a system that cares, and a system that doesn't punish teachers for actually moving back and moving up in the curriculum as they see fit. And similarly, a lot of students also are well more advanced and completely bored in class because they already understand it. They don't want to keep repeating the same thing again. So they want to go forward. So with a little bit of adaptation, with a little bit of inspiration, you can create a far more segmented, far more personalized learning path for every individual. I think that's going to be another big change or shift that we're going towards. And finally, we want to emancipate people from the tyranny of the standardized test. We understand that you need selection filters to get into the best universities. So the only thing that we are okay with is high stakes testing for university level. We have removed completely high stakes testing at the elementary, middle school, and high school level. In Indonesia is the first thing that we did when I joined this position. For 20 years, we've been having this debate. And so I removed that exam completely, and we replaced it with a new assessment, which is much closer to like the PISA, but it is not high stakes whatsoever. It is a snapshot of the educational quality of that school. And that information is used as formative feedback. Nobody gets punished. No teachers get deducted pay for it. No students don't get to pass, etc., which is a ludicrous idea to try to kind of tie teachers' performance or pay packages or bonuses based on student outcomes, or to tie students' future to whatever standardized test they score. These tests are simply to know where the snapshot is and to let the government know who needs more help and who can help us, right? That's what a national assessment should be about. It should be about formative feedback, not punitive summative assessment, let alone determining the future of a kid.
This is really interesting to hear from an AmCham point of view.
This is the 7th minute. Yes, still muted.
Unmute my audio. Here we go. So that was a video that came out 6 days ago, and I think I shared with everybody the podcast last Friday, which was an audio. In your chat room, can you just put your hand up if you managed a chance to have a listen to it? Just pop your hand up. Give us a sense of it. All right. Look, that's okay. Of course, I'm asking you all of the questions. Oh, thank you, Adam. I got a thumbs up. Adam's listened. Oh, great. There's another hand going up. Look, I accept that perhaps you're not familiar with Zoom technologies, and I get it. So we will use Zoom technologies for these particular workshop. So we'll just get used to this idea. But firstly, that's your minister speaking. And I find it fascinating that your minister is presenting such a challenging direction for us all. And I'm interested in the chat while I'm talking. I'd like you to answer this question. How do individual academics feel about what you've heard so far? So in other words, what do you think? What are your thoughts around Campus Merdeka and what you've heard the minister say so far? So when we talk about it, like the concept of emancipated learning, and that's a challenge in itself. It's more than, it gives Campus Merdeka a context, but what it's doing is challenging us as educators to begin to individualize the teaching and learning process. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes that request is a very difficult request because you have lots of issues around how much extra work this might entail. How much have I got the skills to do some of this individualized? How do I deal with many people who have to have an individualized learning program? And how are we going? Are we getting any chats any questions coming up in the chat? Yeah, so throw your thoughts into the chat box around Campus Merdeka and what the minister is outlining for us all. Now, I would like you all, there is only a few hands, I would like you to listen to the full 59 minutes of the audio, and I gave it to you on the opening, but I can also put it in the chat box so you can cut it and take it away and listen to it in detail, because he goes on to talk about many things, and particularly around companies in Indonesia becoming universities and offering courses and mini courses and asking the universities to accredit those courses. So that part of the process is already happening. I'm wondering, Adam, would you pick up that while I do a check thoughts around what's going on, and I'll do a cut and paste of the other audio.
Yeah, I think when I listen to the podcast, I don't know if everyone's listened to all of the podcasts, but there's some really challenging concepts inside his speech. And it challenges for us in academia, particularly in the education environment, because traditionally education environments are very, very structured and bureaucratic. You know, you start as associate lecturer, you go to lecturer, you become senior lecturer, you become associate professor, then you become professor. But the challenge, I think, now is the way that education has become so internationalized. Our students, for the first time, I remember when I was teaching before, I didn't have people looking up Google to see if I was telling the truth. They just believed me because there was no Google. Now,
Recording in progress.
Now when you're in class, someone can check Google. Oh, is he correct? Is he telling a lie? Does he know what he's talking about? This is a big challenge now for us. So I think the one great thing about what your minister said is it can bring out your heart in teaching, the passion inside your subject. That is the key, I think, from the message from your minister. How do I challenge my students to get ready for work? Because most of our bachelor's students will go into work. They will not go into academia. So then how do we think about, when we are structuring our course and the learning journey for our students, how do we actually make sure that the things that we are teaching and the activities that we give them relate to work experiences? So then we have to rethink about, particularly our assessments, on what we're going to do to assess our students to make them work ready. Because the one big challenge, even in Australia, is the one big complaint from big employers is that the students aren't ready to work when they graduate from university. We have to teach them everything. They have to start again. This is because in the academic world, we get stuck with quizzes and exams and those sort of projects. We have to start thinking a little bit outside of the box and think about, for example, if you're teaching economics, you will do a lot of analysis. So you might give a project or a case study around analysis. Or if you are teaching English, for example, you can have breakout rooms and have conversations and you present in English as you are presenting to a board or to your teammates. And those things can then start to become part of your assessment regime. Because the one thing that your minister was talking about was competency. Competency. This is a tricky word for higher education, very tricky, because we are so caught up in how much we get out of 10. So I am high distinction, I am distinction, I am credit, or I am a pass, or I fail. In competency education, we are thinking about the issues relating to, are we ready for work? Are we ready for work? So when you're thinking about, particularly if you're teaching in the 3rd and 4th year of a degree, in bachelor's degree, how are you preparing those people for work? And I think I'll pass over to Osdia now, because Osdia has done a lot of work in the competency-based area, particularly for government departments, and the challenges that they have in terms of passing from a university student into a good public servant. So I'll pass on to you, Osdia. Maybe you can talk about some of those things about, particularly in the Corruption Commission, where you had challenges about auditing and things like that. That was interesting. We might have to get you to unmute, Osdia. You're back on mute again, Osdia.
Can you hear me now? Can you? Can you hear? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Pak Us.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Adam, for passing this on me. And well, I would like to comment first about what the minister has already said about the emancipated learning. So it's quite challenge, yes, because we have to change the way we used to do with the new concept of learning. So I remember the saying that you cannot teach anyone anything. You can only provide an environment where people can learn. So it requires a lot of preparation, not just like giving lectures, and individualized. And the last one is it should be driven by workforce, our job outside. Yes, they must be ready to work when they or they must be ready to run a business or whatever when they finish their education. It's very difficult for, I think, for lecturers to prepare this kind of things. Well, as Adam mentioned, that I've been involved in introducing competency-based training or education system in government institutions, including the one that I used to work with in Land. And the challenges is that most of university graduates, when they finish their school, their university, then they got job in public sectors. They're not ready to work. It's the same like in the private sectors as well. And to including the one that, for example, the personnel management also in the public sectors determines the requirements for job for new recruitees are very generic, not very specific to the job that they are required in the workplace. So anyone can get the job without considering its relevance between what is required in the job and also with the credential or the competency that they learn in the university. So there are a lot of mismatch. That's why some of the ministry have already introduced the competency-based human resource development program, including the one I think that is very serious is in the Ministry of Industry and the Ministry of Manpower, and also Trade, Ministry of Marine and Fishery and Marine and Fishery. So they introduced it because they have to comply with also the regulation, not only in national level, but also in outside. For example, trade. When they do a lot of trade, export, import, you have to make sure that the goods that are going to be exported should meet the requirements of the targeted countries. They have standards and we don't. And when standards of the goods and standard those who inspect that goods, that's a requirements that they have to meet for export goods. So they applied it, and they start from the demands from outside the Indonesia. But gradually, it is also important to be applied, not only in just the demands from outside, but from our own country, from within. For example, the industry also the same, because they require people who are already competent, ready to work, not ready to be trained, because it will cost a lot of money and time to prepare them to work, to be ready for work. So if they are ready already from the university, so it will be much more efficient and more productive.
Can I just jump in there, Uzdia? Look, I think the minister's given us the background to what our conversation is. And I can see that some people in our chat are moving through that conversation quite well. And I'd encourage you all, this is the part where I talked to you earlier about, you know, the blog and the issues. The minister's desire to make significant change isn't going to go away. And so we're going to have to address some of the issues that he's putting before us all. Campus Merdeka is that first step. But there are other steps in the process, and that includes what is it that we're currently doing that's working, what works and prepares our students for the real world. And that's, in a sense, what this participatory learning is about. So I would like to move our conversation toward, you will get a chance to delve into Campus Merdeka when we're actually going to conduct a poll on Campus Merdeka. So why don't we ask the IT person to set that poll up, and let's have a little bit of a poll and get a sense of attitudes, because we haven't been putting very many comments in the comment chat box. Maybe we're still a bit too shy to be saying too much, but let's have a go at running the poll on Campus Merdeka. Are we right? Are we good? Are we good to do it?
Yep, it's there in the chat room.
Okay. In the chat. Oh, you mean just click it and it should come up with for everyone?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. I'll try. I'll go with that. So where is that poll? So have you got it up on your screen, Punang?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
When I said the poll, I wanted it inside the Zoom. So is it possible to launch it through the Zoom so we can see it as a poll in Zoom?
Okay. Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
So well, maybe someone could just write it out while we move forward, and I'll come back to a poll on. Okay. So all the questions can just be put into the poll in Zoom, and then we can look at it.
Okay. So actually, if you click this, it'll go to a Google form, and then everyone can fill that in, and then we can see the results together.
My one's
probably
not.
You can share screen, and then everybody can see the screen. Example, but actually I can run this one. I can fill it the form.
Okay, but we need everyone to fill the form. Yeah, look, I'm unfortunately I'm not bringing it up, that particular link. So so what I'd like us to do is, if and this is the part of the technology, is to run it through Zoom. So if you could, is anyone in the IT support able to take the poll questions and put it into a poll from Zoom, and then everyone will see it and we can answer it. And if not, I'll get my IT person to do it.
Okay, I'll just show it on, but they wouldn't be able to. Right. I'll show what we have in Google. Okay, I'll just share my Google screen. So after here, oh, sorry, this is not the one. Wait a minute. This is the third one, actually.
Oh.
Okay, it should be this one.
Okay.
So if they go to that link, they can answer those questions, correct?
Right, and we can see the responses directly here.
And people have done that already.
7 people have done it. 9.
Oh, and the responses are coming up. All right. Well, look, that's okay. I don't mind how the polls come to us, as long as we need to get most people to respond to that poll. Yeah, I think
the result, the responses.
Yeah. Okay, 11 people. Maybe we can wait for a while until more people come in.
That's cool. Let's do that.
Pak Punang, you have so many tabs open.
Yeah, and this is just one window. I have 4 windows
right?
open.
Wow.
So I have probably about 150 tabs.
Wow.
Punang is luar biasa.
Your computer works really hard.
Yeah.
No problem. Best computer.
It's the computer is there for a reason.
Pak Punang, 100 and what? 150 yeah.
tabs.
50.
Yeah,
my estimation is
how can you define what type you want to activate?
So I have 3 windows. One window is for research, another window for teaching, another window for entertainment.
But it's still many tabs.
Yeah.
In one page.
There are icons on top of the tabs. So yeah.
So look, while we're waiting for everybody else, and we're talking about all those tabs that I can't work out, I might just continue with my conversation around collaborative learning. So, do you have some sense, as we're waiting for the poll results to come through, do you have some sense of what collaborative learning and participatory learning is? In the chat box, put your comments about what you see it to be. I'm mindful of how much time we've got, and I've realized we've moved rather quickly through our timeline. So I'm really keen to see you begin to use the chat box to say a few words about what you see as collaborative learning. While you're doing that, I would be interested to know whether you use small group work like breakout rooms in your teaching practice. Now, in a classroom, do you ever use breakout rooms or small group work when you're conducting your classes?
Yes, I think, Brian, I think it is common in Muhammadiyah University. We have an LMS, and we also subscribe Microsoft Teams. And in that kind of media technology, I think there are such kind of facilities. We can do that one. And I think every time, and we have a center that would like to monitor that one and would like to educate all of the lecturers in order to be able to operate such kind of thing. It will be common in Muhammadiyah University of Yogyakarta for that kind of thing. And
apart from, that's good. And apart from small group activity, what other activities do you do to encourage and engage your participants in learning? So in the chat box, to everybody, put it down in the chat box, some of the things that you do to encourage participatory learning. And I'm not talking just online at the moment. So at the moment, it could be anything that you're thinking about. So in the chat box, just put down 1 or 2 words of the things that you're currently doing that you see as participatory learning. While you're doing that, I'll say, we always have to begin our journey at some point. So if you're not putting things in there, it's telling us a little bit about, you know, what you've been up to and been doing so far. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on the sorts of participatory learning activities. Now, what might that be? Role plays are a classic example, and I will be sharing you some examples of some role plays, particularly around the land mapping activities that I referenced before. Case studies, looking at examples of the way people do work or perform work, and then deciding on, well, you know, how do I feel about that particular case study? Developing scenarios so that people respond to issues and not at a group level, but at an individual one-on-one level. I seem to remember spending a bit of time on fish bowls when I was working with Udia some years back on a number of the programs. So we would set up a scenario of a problem, and we'd have the whole class around listening to how 4 people might solve that problem. So the learning was about watching others solve a problem that was put before them. So participatory learning isn't just about, you know, hi, here's a task, go off and do the task. It's also about how you incorporate strategies to get your students to engage. So let's have a look in the breakout rooms, group assignments, mini case studies, peer reviewed. Yes, that's a good idea. Having peer reviews are a good thing. Other comments around what you currently do? I think people might find some of the things I've suggested a little difficult to do online. So I'm keen to hear. So what's that one about? Collaborative learning is one of the methods that could conduct participate learning that support encompass. The push there is the minister's view that we have to develop an individualized learning program. So we need to look at the ways in which we're not going off texts, we're not using assessment pieces, end result assessment pieces. What we're doing is we're looking at the ways in which individuals learn. And so we will need to, what we will need to do is start to look at each individual learner has their own learning requirements. And in their own learning requirements, that may be a person with a disability might have different learning, need different learning resources in order to get to the same competency that we referred to before. So we need to look at our systems to allow that to take place. I've been needing to think about podcasting. I'm a little bit old-fashioned, but podcasting might be the way forward to get to different audiences. So the idea of speaking in podcasts and conducting a podcast is probably something academics might begin to use for your teaching purposes. So put your hand up if you use, put a sign on your screen if you're using podcasting or podcasts while you deliver. And I'm not just saying taking them from somewhere else, but making them, getting your students to make them.
Can you define podcast?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Google has decided to invest significantly on podcasts. They are audio, little snippets of audio about, and it can be a range of things. Most people listen to news podcasts. Some people listen to health podcasts. Some people listen to entertainment. But Google has decided that there's now 70 million people in America listening to podcasts. But that means there's a lot more, 350 million Americans who aren't using podcasts. So Google's now created a platform called Google Podcast. And if you go on to Google Podcast, you can select an audio piece that is directly related to the thing that you want to talk about. And to give you an idea, the podcast from your Minister for Education, I found it using Google Podcasts app by just typing in the word education, participatory learning, and all of a sudden a piece of information came to me that was your minister talking about emancipated learning. So podcasts are the way of young people learning. In fact, it's going to be better and bigger than TikTok, better and bigger than all of those other social media, because there's a little bit more content in a podcast than there are in these short and picture versions of things. So I'm going to now say, download the Google app. Here, I'll just write it in the Google Podcast app. Download it into your mobile smartphone and start selecting podcasts that you would find interesting to share with your students. Now, I know it took us a little while, so Pak Punang, how did our results go on our Campus Merdeka poll?
Right, okay, I'll show it on screen. Wait a minute. Here there are 18 responses, and we'll take a look at the results here.
Yeah. So are we we're well prepared? That's a good result. I can see that's a good result. Our institute is, now, of course, you know, and I'll be honest with you, if I was in a Google Meet with my colleagues, I'd be saying yes to that as well. So I'd like to see that in front of everyone.
Do you want me to share it with a group or just show the questions?
Share it with the group, because I'm be keen to hear their responses to that one.
Okay.
Now, and as Punang does that for you all, I wanted to say that we're going to both make it reflective, participatory, and engaging. You're not going to be just sitting in rooms of large numbers of people and not doing anything. You will be doing things. You will be mostly staying in the group that you've been put in for much of the activities that we set up for you. You'll be getting to know the people in your group very, very well, because if you're going to work together as a group, you're going to be dependent upon each other in terms of support as you move forward. You will have some IT support through the people that get assigned to the group as IT support, but you'll also have to do a fair amount of the work yourself. And when you come into our webinars, the expectation is you will be engaged in activities. So now let's have a look at Punang, an evaluation, because one of the things as a pilot, we expect you to contribute to how things are going. So we need to know how you are going, and the only way we do that is to evaluate. So our poll 3 is about an evaluation of how things have gone in this particular session. I'd like you to have another go at this poll. Online learning is productive for learners. And while you're filling out that, I'll say it's been a very interesting start to the day. I'm asking you to use the technologies that are readily available to you, things like polling, and you'd ask me, I've been giving you simple polls, but of course in your teaching practice, if you were delivering activities, you could make your polls very pertinent and relevant to your students. It's an instant way of getting feedback about what you're talking about and what your students are learning, and also how well they are picking up the content. So that's why polling becomes extremely important. I think if you are people, Punang, are they putting their responses in?
Yeah.
Oh, fabulous. So while you're doing that, I'll just keep chatting about why we poll. Polling is also, from an academic point of view, a very good way of collecting data to write on. So as academics, you might be thinking, hang on a minute, how can I use this to write my next article? Well, it's in front of you. We can do Google polling or Zoom polling or whatever, but turn it into your professional practice. Also, but I'm using it today just to get a sense of evaluating how our first 2 hours in our first webinar went. We didn't get into our second breakout session, which is really about content, and we will get into that the next time we meet up. How many people have responded, Punang?
Okay, there are 10 people there.
Okay, we'll just wait a bit longer for others. Adam, would you like to say a few words before we hear what the results are?
Just saying, I was just thinking when I was speaking with my group of young professors, Brian, how excited I am to be involved in this course. And I think there's some great comments coming through the chat. I would encourage you all to try to start building the network from this group. Don't underestimate the power of this group class that you are working in. There you will find colleagues that you can work with, to co-publish with, to co-teach with, to have guest lecturers in your course. This is how we start to get participatory learning going. So I encourage you all to share and start talking to each other and really start thinking about how my passions are aligned, because if you're passionate about the same things, then it's much easier for you to collaborate and publish. I've seen also some great comments around the bandwidth and things like that. I remember, Brian, when I was teaching in the Northern Territory, which is at the top of Australia, which doesn't have mobile phone access outside of Darwin. And that bandwidth issue that we talk about, particularly in poorer communities, in villages that don't have even electricity, for example, but very, very poor internet connection, is that we want to be putting ourselves in the shoes of our students. We need to have some empathy. So when we design our courses, we don't want them to be downloading lots of things that have big files and data. If we can, we try to link things so people can make choices. So we don't actually put pressure on our poorer students to actually use up all their internet allocations, for example. So this is where we have to be really creative as teachers. So rather than being lecturers, we start to become facilitators. And I think that's the big point of this course, is that we start to move you from the lecturer, the person at the front of the room, and more to mentoring and coaching and building your students' confidence and helping them through their learning journey. So there's some great comments there, and I noticed some of the issues around working at a private university and a public university and the challenges. What I would encourage you to do, having worked at a private university, is circumvent the bureaucracy, engage directly with industry. How do you do that? Well, you can get yourself some industry advisory groups, for example. Maybe you go into your local industry, get 5 or 6 industry people, bring them into your classes, get them as guest lecturers. This will help you to actually reduce the amount of teaching you have to do as well, but also too, it gives another voice inside your class. Also help, when we're talking about competency-based training, if you do start to develop at a faculty level or a school level, industry advisory groups, you start to actually change your assessment methodology. And that's a big challenge if you're going to do that, because we want to, at the end of the time that our students are with us, really help them to be ready for work. Because not everybody's going to get a doctorate or become an academic or publish and get a Nobel Peace Prize. This is very small proportion of the population. So, for example, in Australia, only 1% of the population have a doctorate degree. It's very, very small. So most people, when they graduate, just go and do their bachelor's degree. So we have to start thinking about how can we get them ready. And I noticed someone talked about soft skills. I call them human skills. Don't talk to them about soft skills, human skills, the power to communicate, to actually solve a problem, to work in teams. These are things that we do as human beings, but technology sometimes distances us with that. So we have to encourage people, don't lose our humanness. We're still human beings that crave to talk to people and have conversations.
Yeah.
So encourage those
Adam.
inside your learning programs.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks. That's great. Punang, have you, how did the results go?
Yes.
Let's have a look at it up on the screen. Yep, I strongly agree. Excellent. Yep, let's move down that one. We're just sharing what we've learned. Challenged me. Oh, well, it challenged me, I must say. If I was answering that, I'd say yes, because technologies are sometimes a difficult beast. Okay, great. Well, that's okay. I enjoyed the activities in the breakout room. Well, I only had one breakout room, so it really wasn't a great thing. Okay, but sounds like you don't mind a breakout room. And yes. What? Oh, I read it the other way around. So you can understand our Australian accent. Fabulous. That's a real improvement. I'll get Adam to finish off in his particularly Australian way. So look, that's a way of collecting information, and it's a way. Oh yeah, the last one, there was too much information. Oh, good. I disagree. There wasn't too much information. Yes. Okay. No, I didn't think we managed too badly on that one, but we collect all this data. So I'm going to say all of the chat, someone in the tech area can cut and paste, or we can get access to the chat. I know that when we close the Zoom, the chat disappears as a file. Maybe the techie can send that file or put that file into a box connected to this webinar. So people can look again at the chat and then go in and ask more questions about the chat. I certainly will be spending a bit of time offline having a look at the responses in the chat. And so, Punang, we come to a close on our webinar
by the
today.
way, there's someone asking about the second poll. Are we going to do that later on?
Oh, I didn't do the second poll because I didn't even get to the second breakout room. I think I had a plan to get you into the second breakout room, and then we could have done the second poll. So don't panic. We will be able to run that poll when we've had the chat. Other questions, by the way, before you all? I would strongly encourage you to use all these versions. This chat room is the way in which we're going to collect information and share information. We may even put some of the chat comments up in our conversation blog. That's probably the best spot to put it.
Okay. And aside from that, the participants has also written down their reflections on their previous teaching. Maybe you can use it for next week's discussion. I'll send it to you.
Send what the participants have written to
It's
us.
in Indonesia though, but you can still use Google Translate.
We can manage.
Okay.
I can manage. It's okay. I will just do a Google Translate and get a good sense of it all. So we're finished for this evening. We come again next week at the same time, 1:30. Punang, I'll stay in touch with you, and I think I'll ask Adam. G'day, mate. Can you finish us off with a few words?
I think today's course, Brian, was Mickey Mouse. It was a rip snorter.
Rip snorter.
It was a real ripper.
Yeah.
Go back. Okay, so Mickey Mouse means it was excellent. A rip snorter means it's fantastic. Ripper means it's really good news that you guys are really going ahead with this stuff. Yeah. And I would encourage you when you say things to somebody, you can say some of the things that we say when we say goodbye. Good on you. And I would say toodaloo. I'm going to get a cuppa.
I haven't heard toodaloo for a long time, but my mum used to say toodaloo. So toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Toodaloo.
Bye everyone. Stay safe and well.
Thank you, Adam.
See you later.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
I think we have to collect all of these new vocabularies and we use them so we don't forget them easily. All right, so okay. So is that all from Brian and also Ada? All right, thank you, Brian, and also thank you, Ada. And dear audience, before we finish our activities,
I think
we
need to show the LMS first.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. But before that, I'm going to remind all the participants to fill in the attendance list. Have you done that? Yeah, the attendance is already in the chat box. Ya, tolong diisi daftar hadirnya, and then in the final agenda, I'm going to invite Pak Punang to explain about the learning management systems that we are going to use. And
recording stopped.
It will be in Solusimu, ya Pak Punang. Alright, monggo Pak Punang, the time is yours.
Recording in progress.
Maybe the attendance can be resent because it's covered by other message. Yeah.
It's already okay. No, it's already here.
Yeah.
From Mas Putra, it's there.
Okay.
It's there.
The newest one.
Okay. Okay. Pak Punang yang terakhir. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So everyone will be given an account, and we already have it actually, account and password and so on for this workshop LMS. Should I be speaking in Indonesian or in
Indonesia, Pak? Takutnya pada greeting udah yang lain itu takutnya.
Ya, dan teman-teman dari AIL sudah tidak ada yang jadi kita sudah siapkan LMS untuk workshopnya. Oke, di sini nanti kita sudah ada account username untuk semua peserta. Nanti kita akan masukkan di WhatsApp. Kemudian di sini bisa dilihat tadi kan sudah disampaikan tentang blog ya. Ini editing off dulu. Tentang blognya yang dimaksud ini kita implementasikan dalam bentuk general forum. Ini ada silahkan kalau ada ungkapan perasaan yang ingin disampaikan atau pertanyaan umum bisa masukkan di sini untuk diskusi secara umum. Kemudian di sini nanti Bapak Ibu sekalian bisa melihat sendiri. Kemarin sudah ada opening ceremony sudah kita jalankan, ada narasumber kita, kemudian rekaman-rekamannya juga akan kita masukkan di sini. Ini yang kemarin minggu lalu Brian ada pembukaan dan ini fullnya ada di situ. Kemudian kita itu ada jangan lupa ada 3 bagian. Jadi bagian pertama ini kita mulai membuat online activity dulu. Bagian kedua kita membuat silabus dan bagian ketiga kita membuat LMS-nya. Nah ini kita sudah jalankan tadi sesi kedua, sudah jalan, nanti silakan attendance-nya jangan lupa diklik juga, pastikan sudah attend-nya sudah klik, kemudian ini juga semua sesi-sesi yang dijalankan tadi juga sudah. Kemudian untuk berikutnya selama 1 minggu ini ada tugas untuk membuat contoh collaborative and participative activity plan. Jadi rencana belajar yang sifatnya kolaboratif dan partisipatif. Nah, silakan itu nanti dikerjakan sendiri, nanti di-upload di sini, nanti di-upload di individual work. Kalau ada yang mau disampaikan juga ada discussion forum di sini. Nanti itu masuknya sesi ketiga. Kemudian sesi keempat, sebelum kita pertemuan kembali dengan Brian dan kawan-kawan, nanti dipersilahkan untuk setiap kelompok seperti susunan kelompok tadi untuk diskusi, saling share, saling menyampaikan hasil tugas individunya, rencana pembelajaran yang sifatnya CPL tadi. Cukup satu aktivitas saja, bukan satu course utuh, tapi cukup satu aktivitas saja yang nanti didiskusikan. Tugasnya juga hanya satu aktivitas saja, sehingga saya rasa Bapak dan Ibu sekalian cukup 1 jam sebetulnya ya, karena sudah mesti punya banyak contoh aktivitas yang bisa digunakan. Tapi tentunya kalau ada yang baru lebih bagus setelah mendapatkan masukan dari Brian, Adam, Hurriyet tadi. Nanti silakan diskusinya bisa pakai Zoom di sini untuk diskusi kelompok. Kalau misalkan bersamaan, nanti juga kita bisa masukkan ke dalam breakout room. Jadi nanti setelah ini silakan membuat WhatsApp group juga untuk setiap kelompok. Lantas setiap kelompok itu diskusi sendiri kapan akan mengadakan pertemuan dalam kelompok untuk menyiapkan laporan yang akan disampaikan pada pertemuan sinkronus berikutnya. Oke, kemudian nanti setiap kelompok akan ada satu pendamping. Kalau ada kesulitan nanti bisa bicara dengan pendamping kita. Seperti tadi ada Mbak Desi, Mbak Farinsa, ada juga Mas Joko, ada juga nantinya Mas Wicak, dan ada nanti yang kita tugaskan untuk setiap kelompok. Nah, ini sampai akhir sudah ada di sini. Nanti silahkan juga dicermati. Tapi pada dasarnya pada tiap bagian ada tugas individu dan ada tugas diskusi kelompok mengevaluasi hasil tugas individu, dan kemudian hasil laporan kelompoknya akan disampaikan kepada Brian dan teman-teman pada sesi sinkronus berikutnya. Gitu serba ringkasnya, Bu Eko, monggo.
Oke. Baik, terima kasih Pak Bunang. Pertanyaan berikutnya nanti yang bisa mengedit kan pastinya nanti dari panitia ya. Tetapi yang akan saya tanyakan adalah dari partisipan nanti bagaimana cara mengaksesnya Pak? Apakah nanti mereka akan dikasih rumah-rumah sendiri untuk mereka bisa mendesain satu mata kuliah tertentu atau bagaimana Pak?
Ya, nantinya itu pada part 3 itu Bu. Jadi kalau sampai ke online activity dan silabus itu masih belum menggunakan LMS, tapi nanti tugas part 3 itu membuat LMS. Tapi misalkan ingin dibuat sejak awal mau dicicil juga boleh, kita nanti siapkan. Tolong disampaikan juga judul mata kuliahnya apa, nanti bisa disiapkan teman-teman dari Cybermu, dari Universitas.
Berarti nanti kita share Google Form begitu mungkin Bapak? Nanti
boleh Bu.
Dari waktu itu sepertinya kita sudah pernah mendata, beda itu pada
mata kuliah yang selama ini sudah diajar,
yang sudah pernah diajar dan yang mau dijadikan proyek di online course ini. Baik, apa ada pengumuman yang lain? Jadi pertemuan untuk sinkronus di minggu ini itu hanya hari ini saja ya Bapak ya. Nanti kita ketemu lagi tanggal 3 September.
Minggu depan hari Jumat, same time, same venue, jam 1:30. Tapi nanti akan dievaluasi apakah 2 jam cukup atau tidak, karena rupanya kan waktunya agak terlalu mepet kan. Jadi barangkali bisa jadi pertemuan berikutnya lebih panjang dari ini. Kalau begitu nanti tengah-tengahnya ada break asang nih, insya Allah.
Mohon maaf Pak Bunang, itu di poin nomor 4 yang saya kirimkan tadi ke WhatsApp itu soalnya ada pertemuan sinkronus juga di situ. Ini part 1.
Iya, betul.
Nah, ini kapan ini? Ini kan masih di minggu ini atau ini yang bukannya tanggal 3 September?
Sorry, ini yang nomor 4 ya. Yang nomor 4 ini kelompok, Bu.
Soalnya ini sinkronis, Bapak. Berarti
sinkronus. Betul.
Masing-masing
Jadi
kelompok ya.
Masing-masing kelompok diskusi secara langsung, secara live, sinkronus dengan sebetulnya boleh Zoom, boleh pakai WhatsApp video call atau apapun boleh. Tapi nanti tolong pendampingnya juga nanti diundang.
Ini yang sudah dijelaskan sama Brian tadi itu ya Pak ya. Oke. Baik. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu semua, sebelum saya tutup, apakah ada yang mau ditanyakan dulu? Is there any questions? Oh, Pak Bambang, silakan.
Apakah di WhatsApp grup itu pendampingnya ikut jadi member atau tidak? Karena
good question.
kalau itu mungkin diperlukan grup kecil seperti.
Good question, Bapak.
Yeah.
Sepertinya belum semua ya, Pak Bunang.
Tadi ada Pak Usdia ikut dalam grup. Yang dari tadi sebenarnya yang sudah ikut dalam grup itu Bu Desi, Bu Farinsa, Pak Joko sudah masuk. Ada satu lagi Pak Wicaksono itu kebetulan sekarang ini berhalangan. Kemudian kita akan assign satu lagi karena tadinya konsepnya agak beda. Tadinya itu satu kelompok dua orang dari satu IT, satu konten itu mendampingi dua kelompok ini peserta, tapi ternyata kita jadikan satu-satu. Jadi kita akan siapkan lagi sehingga setiap kelompok ada pendampingnya nanti.
Oke, berarti nanti either pendamping dimasukkan ke grup kolaboratif itu, ataukah nanti ada grup kecil-kecil lagi. Ini saya khawatir Bapak Ibu tuh grup WhatsApp-nya tuh udah ratusan, sehingga nanti bingung yang grup yang mana, grup yang mana.
Kayaknya perlu grup yang kecil, Bu, karena untuk mendiskusikan ini kapan misalkan mau diskusi.
Dan itu mesti sebelum tanggal 3 ya, Bapak ya?
Betul, nanti segera biar disiapkan. Kita fasilitasi untuk membuat grup kelompok.
Baik. Oke, selain Pak Bambang ada lagi satu pertanyaan lagi. Maaf ini waktunya jadi melebar ya, tetapi kalau saya boleh urun rebuk, waktu yang kita manfaatkan untuk belajar jangan kita sebut sebagai wasting time, tetapi investasi. Karena belajar itu bisa setiap saat di mana saja dan kapan saja. Maka silahkan satu lagi.
Ya, Bego. Itu saya mau tanya tentang pembagian kelompok ini. Ini fix seperti tadi, jadi terus-terus milih satu kelompok atau nanti setiap ada kesempatan kelompoknya beda-beda. Itu yang perlu.
Sepertinya tadi Brian bilang tetap aja. Am I correct or wrong? Seperti itu ya Bu Mariska?
Iya, betul.
Ya, sepertinya tadi saya
yang saya pahami begitu.
Tadi Brian itu mengatakan grupnya sekarang ini.
Tadi kan kita terlambat itu.
Oh, betul. Nanti grupnya tetap itu Pak Sur.
Oke, jadi mungkin itu jadi informasi kita bersama gitu loh.
Ya, baik. Ya, terima kasih sudah dikasih reminder.
Ya, tadi Bu Eko.
Bu Endah.
Tadi di kelompok kami kan hanya ada IT aja, pendampingnya nggak ada.
Maka nanti Pak Punang. Tadi kan skenarionya ya.
Ya.
Ada pendamping IT dan ada konten ya Bapak seharusnya ya.
Sekarang semuanya pendamping konten jadinya, nggih. Karena semuanya punya kompetensi sisi IT sudah ada, nggih.
Oh. Bu Endah, does it answer the question?
Jadi yang IT tadi nanti jadi pendamping konten?
Iya, karena semuanya sebetulnya juga menguasai konten maupun menguasai penggunaan LMS. Jadi bisa berfungsi ganda juga.
Oke, makasih.
Oke. Baik, Pak Furkon, no problem. Bu Anissa, tadi katanya kok bahasa Inggris semua penyampaiannya.
Enggak apa-apa. Misalkan kalian belajar ya.
Ada subtitlenya di bawahnya.
Kalau umpama nanti waktunya tambah lama, nggak memungkinkan dimajuin aja mulainya gitu ya.
Bisa jadi nanti kita jam 1 ya Pak Bunang.
Berarti misalkan 3 jam itu ya, jam 1 sampai jam 4 atau tengah-tengahnya jam 3 istirahat setengah jam, no pripun?
Enggak Bapak Ibu. Karena kalau setengah 2 mulainya.
Menurut saya mending terusan ya.
Mending terusan, berarti jam 1 sampai jam 4 ya.
Ya, saya juga mending terusan.
Nanti kayaknya nggak membosankan deh aktivitasnya, kan ada kelompok kecil-kecil, ada kelompok besar begitu. Berarti jam 1 aja Bapak mulainya ya.
Oh nggih. Asal disepakati semuanya, oke.
Baik, ya berarti nanti kita beri reminder lagi ya untuk minggu depan. Ketemu tanggal 3 insya Allah jam 1 siang. Baik Bapak Ibu semua, alhamdulillah rangkaian acara kita hari ini sudah kita lewati dan saya terus terang mendapatkan manfaat banyak ya. Kadang kalau sebagai dosen kita ngajar itu asumsi kita semuanya sudah paham. Ternyata kalau Bapak Ibu perhatikan kan tadi Brian itu menuntun kita dari yang sangat basic sekali. Bahkan kadang-kadang mereka ragu apakah kita sudah pernah pakai Zoom atau belum. Bahkan kemarin di presentasi ikoeltik ditanyakan apakah ada yang dari kita punya Mac atau tidak. Seperti itu. Jadi itu mungkin kehati-hatian bagi mereka untuk make sure bahwa student kita atau partisipan kita itu paham betul apa yang mereka sampaikan. Nah, ini kadang-kadang yang kita itu lalai, merasa bahwa semuanya itu sudah paham. Baiklah, disinilah kita belajar, kita sama-sama mencari ilmu dan membagi pengalaman dan mendapatkan pengalaman dari yang lain. Itulah yang dinamakan dengan professional development ya. Alright, Bapak Ibu, marilah kita akhiri pertemuan ini dengan bacaan hamdalah. Amin. Mohon maaf apabila ada salah kata. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih. Jangan lupa attendance diisi dulu, jangan lupa.
Ya, terima kasih.
Oke.
Tudelu.
Silahkan. Apa tadi?
Tudelu.
Oh, saya mengartikan tudelu itu ke kamar mandi gitu ya. Bener ya, tudelu gitu kan? Lu itu kan kamar mandi. Tudelu. Setelah tudelu tadi dibilang apa?
Kappa itu cup of coffee kayaknya.
Oh iya, kappa. Sana tuh disingkat-singkat Pak. Kita bilang mau ke Waverly Garden aja ke Wafos gitu. Ini going to Wafos gitu.
Mau istirahat pagi itu semoko.
Semoko itu apa Pak?
Kalau istirahat pagi mau minum-minum gitu, kalau itu di.
Ya tapi dari kata apa maksudnya loh?
Smoking.
Oh, smoking. Yang tahu saya itu kalau breakfast jadi breaky gitu kan?
Iya, wong Australia aja jadi Aussie.
Oh iya. Itu mereka tuh karena males sebenarnya. Iya, jadinya tuh kalau ngomong nggak mau panjang-panjang, disingkat doang. Iya. Bapak Ibu kalau mau live silakan. Atau mau di end meeting? Mas Putra, end meeting aja Mas Putra.